Hi, my name is Xander Preston, and I'm currently a computer science student at the University of Central Florida. And in this video, I'm going to show off a project that I've been working on for the past 2 weeks, which I call To-Do Machine. It is a to-do list application made using JavaFX, and by proxy, that means it's a GUI application. It's interactable. Before I show that off, however, I do have some unit tests to make sure that the functions that I call in my GUI actually work outside the GUI. So I have tests for importing and exporting files, creating and adding items, setting items, removing items, clearing the list, sorting the items by date, filtering, verifying description changes and due date changes, and editing description. If I double click on test, it'll show that all of my tests pass and everything compiled correctly. So that means my application should run correctly. Whenever I double click on run here, it'll show my application. And I worked very hard on this CSS. It took me quite some time. This is probably the most CSS I've ever worked on. And it definitely shows. I think this is very stylistically pleasing. I can resize the window as well, and the table will move along with it. What really inspired me with this design in particular was actually a 4X title named Stellaris by Paradox Interactive. And in Stellaris, you generally you start off as a small empire, and you can start taking over the galaxy and diplomacy and war and whatnot. However, the UI is what really struck out to me as very interesting because it's very retro, very sci-fi, and very vibrant with its green and kind of purplish color palette. So that's what I tried to imitate, and I think I did a pretty good job. So we can start creating our new item list. The text field on the left is our description, and the text field on the right, the date picker, is our due date. So if I wanted to add a new item called show off to do list, we'll do capital DO, and I can set that as today. If I click add item, it'll add it to the item list as expected. I can also add another item with without a date, and it'll add as well. The date is optional, meanwhile the description is required. So if I try to add an item without a description, it'll give me an error and it will not commit the item to the table. So I need a description. However, I cannot make my description more than 256 characters. So in this field down here, if I try to type in over 256 characters, it won't even allow me to go past that no matter what I try. So like I can select the whole bunch, try to get more, and it won't let me. If I add it, it'll have this little wrap effect for things that are too big for the table. And of course it'll wrap as I change the size. So I can add a few more items, like drive car, and I'll do that in year 2077, because I was supposed to be able to do that. It also came out on December 10th. But you see, since I did not press enter, the date did not commit. So in order to actually type in a value, I have to actually press enter after typing it in. Otherwise, I could just click on a value. And as you see, after pressing enter, the date picker will show that I chose that date in particular. So I can type in cyberpunk, as you see. Let's just add a few more items with some random dates. And we'll do one more, as seen here. Now let's say I want to actually change the description, as shown earlier. I can change it, Google. If I tried to change the date to something that doesn't work as a date, like let's say I type an arrow. If I press enter, it'll actually say due date must be a valid date in the format YYYYMMDD. So all the formats must be entered in that format. So if I try to do like 11, 30, 21, it won't allow me to even consider that. If I can select items as completed, And given that my dates are all kind of all over the place and I need more organization, I can click on sort by date. It'll sort it from earliest to latest. So 2021, August 17th would be my earliest, and 2077, December 10th would be the latest task that I do. So let's say I have these items complete and these items I need to complete. If I click on show completed items, it'll show only those items. And we'll say Google, for instance, will disappear whenever I click show incomplete items. And I can click on items in incomplete items, and if I click on complete, they'll show up in the respective area. And I can also do the same with completed items. Click incomplete. So given that I have this, I can also select multiple items and remove them. Or I can, after exporting, we'll export first. I'll do show.txt. It does say to-do list successfully exported. I can clear all the items. Now let's say I want to open up a different list. Now this one has over 100 items as per, just to show that the list can handle over 100 items. Theoretically, it should handle a lot more than 100, as shown there. And of course, all the functions work for this list as well, like show and only complete, which all the complete are just the even numbers, incomplete are just the odd numbers, showing all items. If I want to import my old list back, I can click show, and the list will show off the old list. And if I click help, I also have import and export functions for file, but if I click help, it shows off my little about scene, which this is a list of guides that I have that are written in HTML. And I have guides for adding items, removing items, editing items, sorting and filtering items, and importing and exporting items. And each of these lists has a little table or a list at the top where if I click on an item, it'll take me directly to that section. So if I click on adding the item, it'll take me all the way down to adding the item. And that is, for the most part, my list, my to-do machine. I've had a lot of fun working on this, and thank you for watching my video.